Hello, and welcome to another episode of Color Commentary. My name is Glenn Whitmore, and I'm a 30-year plus veteran of the comic book industry. In this series, I review and reminisce about an old comic I colored. This series is sponsored by Captain Clockwork, the greatest hero of all time. And you can catch Captain Clockwork in my 64-page special, Full Circle, now available on captainclockwork.bigcartel.com. So check it out if you like retro sci-fi superheroes in sort of a Darwin Cook-ish type style. I think you'll have fun with this. Anyhow, it's New Year's Day 2022, and I decided to review Adventures of Superman 474, which takes place on a New Year's Eve long ago in Superman's past, in which, as a teenager, he, Clark, Lana, Pete Ross, are at a party. They have some alcohol. The guy that they're hanging out with, the senior kid, is drinking. They get in the car. And the kid ends up. We'll check it out. Anyhow, this is one of the few covers. Not one of the few, but one of the covers that Carlin gave me to color. For some reason, I guess at the time I was having trouble grasping the idea that covers needed to look different from the inside. You know, the color you really want to grab somebody. And this one, for the most part, I think I did a good job with. But I do think that Superman here, I could have chosen to be a little bit brighter or a little bit lighter. He would have popped out more. But I like the logo color choice. You know, I'm keeping it in the purples, and the white pops out. So my mindset at the time was that the logo should pop out the most. You know, the logo is the thing that's going to draw the reader's eye to the book on the stands. So anyway, so let's look inside. Art Jurgens, R.T. Bear did this story, and guys like Art and Brett Breeding went knockout crazy at this time. They were doing all kinds of stuff where they would do the snow. They would do this snow in knockout. So they would like ink that in black, and then on a separate layer, and then this would get sent to the separator and the printer, and the printer could knock those snowflakes out in white. So these were not drawn on the actual page. These were separate. And it's a trick that I used in Captain Clockwork on a couple of pages too, where I had a snowstorm in a panel or two. And instead of drawing little circles and then having to knock them all out manually, I did them on a separate layer, overlaid them, put them on a different layer, and then just knocked them out in white. So this is, I think, looking through this is one of my better jobs. Takes place in a hospital, snowy New Year's Eve, out in the Midwest, and here's the hospital, and it's very muted, lots of blues and greens. Everything's kind of dark. Even though this floor pops out a little bit, it still works. Lots of knockouts. Very muted. And then we go to a flashback where he's flashing back about his youth and playing football, being on the football team, and everything goes bright in the flashback, you know. So here it is, sunny day, everything pops, it's bright, you know. And I did a good job there. That's what I liked about when I reviewed this, when I was looking at it, that everything worked in the flashback scenes as opposed to the present day scenes. And so Clark walks into in this hospital room, and the kid's parents are there. And by the way, the kid is older, but he's been in a coma for years and years. And I guess it's a story about finally pulling the plug, and Clark wrestling with his guilt over what happened that night. And but I did put the mom in straight magenta, and that kind of pops out, but that's okay. But everything's predominantly cool colors and neutrals and everything. And then when we go back to the flashback here, and one thing I should have done to emphasize, I should have made the car bright red. I should have not done it YRB25. So it would have popped out. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's one thing I wish I could have done differently. But here we are, back to a nice sunny day. And here's the kid, and he's kind of like a bad boy, and he's smoking a cigarette. Here's the thing, I don't know if it quite works, but I think this was Art's thing, where this was an overlay and of shadows of leaves falling across Clark and Pete. I don't think it quite works. It looks like they're like kind of dirty or something, but I don't know. It just doesn't quite work for me. So, like, you could only choose to knock this out in one color, and if I chose B50, it wouldn't work. I chose B25, and it works the best, but still it doesn't quite do it for me. So here we go, and like I said, this should have been like a straight red, this car, but I was doing things like, leaving white rim light on Clark here, even though there was no rim light indicated by the inker. So, just trying to do things like, his skin tone was a darker skin tone because maybe he's in the foreground, but it doesn't quite work because the sheets are still white. But anyway. But I liked Art and Dan's the combination of those two guys. I think Dan was a guy you could put a lot of different inkers on, and he would look different. His art would look different all the time. But so anyway, so here we go. There's more snow on a separate separate plate to be knocked out by the printer, and it works really well. And it's snowing in present day just as it is in the flashback. So the flashbacks now taking place at night. Here we go. Here's a party. Everything's bright. Everything's energetic. Should have used different... I got a little lazy here with the people. I knocked them out. Maybe kept them in blues and purples. They should have been more in like maybe pale oranges and pale reds or whatever. Just, lighter colors. But for the most part, it works out okay. Like this carpet that they're standing on could have been a lighter color, and these guys might have popped out a little better. But overall, I'm still satisfied with the job I did with the colors on this issue. So here we go. Just always trying to take cues where I could do shading and not just do a flat color totally. But these kids at this party got wild and crazy. This was probably what they call a red line. The inker would draw the outline of the headlights in a red line, and there would be a note on the side to the separator to drop out that red line. This is all stuff you could easily do digitally. And more lighting. Same thing with these headlight beams, probably red lined. This crash could have been a little bit brighter. Would have popped out a little bit more. But this panel here, you know, the yellow from the headlights beams, and the look of fear on the kid's eyes as he realizes he's about to have an accident. So, and for the most part, I did my job. Everything separated real well, read very well. My tendency to use a lot of neutrals and grays kind of worked for this particular issue, because it was sort of like more of a real life, slice of life, smaller kind of a story. You know, just took place in the real world. You know, so it kind of worked a little bit better. Redlining here on the steam coming from the car that just crashed. And here I've got Scott, the character who got killed. His skin tone is darker than their skin tone. They're like in the foreground. They're kind of in the focus, and he's in the... Oh, there's my alarm. I should wrap this up. So anyhow, back to the present day. We're in this dark hospital room. And then here we are at the Kents. The Kents have a nice kind of like a nice homey kind of a brighter green, warmer green, very kind of earthy, natural, Midwest kind of a home deal. And Clark, I put in a red shirt. You know, he's red and blue. Just, you know, I always felt like the star of the book should be in primaries. You know, that's sort of a kind of a thing I strive for. So, and all in all, this is like a really classic, kind of a classic issue, really. And again, proud to have been part of it. And here we go. This car could have been another color. I don't know, but it's hard because cars in the real world aren't really all that gaudy looking, but you need them to pop out sometimes. And anyhow, and sometimes you need, you know, in order to pop out, they got to be a color that you wouldn't normally see in the real world. So, but anyhow, there you go. A very special issue of Superman. Mainly The Adventures of Superman. 474 from January 1991 by Dan Jurgens, Art DeBear. And that's it. So hope you enjoyed this review. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. And we will catch you next time on the next episode of Color Commentary. And Happy New Year.